What's going on, family? This is Scrapbook Boxing, Museum of the Forgotten Fisticuffs series. I want to take a look at Sugar Ray Robinson, Walker Smith Jr., and Jose Basora, Puerto Rican middleweight, outstanding fighter. He was a contender for many years. But as you know, Sugar Ray Robinson was born May 3rd, 1921 in Alley, Georgia. But you might not know is that he met Joe Louis, the Brown Bomber, as a kid in Detroit, Michigan. And he used to carry Joe Louis's bags for him to Brewster Center. That was the gymnasium that Joe Louis trained. And Ray was too young to get into the gymnasium, but Joe Louis would explain and teach Ray Robinson many tricks, things that he learned while training in that gym. And when Ray Robinson's mom had moved to Harlem, Ray would tap dance in the streets for money, but he always wanted to be a boxer, just like his idol, Joe Louis. So he would be introduced to Harry Wiley. He had ran the Salem Crescent's gym. It was also known as Grubb's Gym on 116th Street in Harlem. That's when he would be introduced to George Gangsford. George Gangsford was a numbers runner. But he understood how to handle money and how to maneuver his way around gangsters as well as the mob. He had a big reputation, did George Gangsford. So it made for a great team. Now, Ray Robinson would die April 12, 1989. I had the pleasure of meeting him on two separate occasions, and he would explain to me certain moves that he used to use and what was taught to him. And as I watch fighters today, boy, would he have gotten away with a lot, because the openings are there. Now, Ray Robinson was introduced to the Boxing Hall of Fame in 1980, introduced to the Boxing International Hall of Fame in 1990. Sports writers collectively considered Ray Robinson to be the very best to have ever laced on a pair of boxing gloves and named him, pound for pound, the greatest fighter of all times because of his ability to box and control and dictate the action in the ring. His ability to punch with 5-6 punch combinations, placing them all in pressure point and vital areas. His endurance and tenacious, and his attitude was amazing. His ability to punch and take a punch was like none other. You see, as a featherweight, he would spar with welterweights, sometimes middleweights, as a featherweight. And as a lightweight, he was knocking out middleweights in the gym. The punching power that Ray Robinson would possess would be frightening. He was welterweight champion from 1946 to 1951. He was middleweight champion from 1951 to 1952. He would retire after he faced Joey Maxim. We would gain that title in 1955 and hold him to 1958. He was the first and only 5-time middleweight champion. He was the fighter of the year between 1942 and then again in 1951 by the Ring magazine. 1950, he was fighter of the year by the Boxers Writers Association of America. Fighter of the decade of the 1950s, Ring magazine. He was introduced to the Ring Magazine Hall of Fame in 1967. World Boxing Hall of Fame in 1980. He was named welterweight, middleweight, fighter of the century by the Associated Press in 1999. Ring Magazine named Ray Robinson the greatest fighter in the 2002 edition. He beat it with great fighters and champions such as Joey Maxim, Sammy Angot, Tommy Bell, Jake LaMotta, Bobo Olson, Randy Turpin, Gene Foreman, Carl Bobo Olson, Carmen Basilio, Paul Pender, Terry Downs, Joey Giardello, Henry Armstrong, just to name a few. And he would face Charlie Fusari. That would be his first title defense. August 9th, 1950. Fusari had a fighting record of 63-7-1 at the time. And this would be in New Jersey, Newark, New Jersey. And the referee was a very good trainer of mine. His name was Paul Cavalier. Paul Cavalier was also responsible for the Marcel Sedan and Tony Zale fight. Charlie Fusari was a dynamic fighter. It was a very good opponent for Ray Robinson for his first title defense. Robinson was in there with Little Tiger Aaron Wade, phenomenal murderous row fighter, February 22nd, 1950. At that time, Tiger Wade had a fighting record of 64-15-6. Cliff Beckett, 17-14-3, April 21st, 1950. Robert Villamain, who was the Pennsylvania middleweight champion, had a fighting record of 42-3-1. Fought him June 5th, 1950. Carl Bobo Olsen, he defeated him twice. Jake LaMotta lost to him once, defeated him 5 times. Carl Bobo Olsen, Carmen Basilio, Gene Fomer, Paul Pender, Kid Gavilan. Fought Gavilan at Yankee Stadium, and he also fought him at the Municipal Stadium in Pennsylvania, which is actually Philadelphia. Jimmy Doyle, unfortunate incident, June 24th, 1947. At that time, Jimmy Doyle had a fighting record of 42-6-3. Fought him at the Cleveland Arena. And Ray Robinson had a premonition that he would be killing Jimmy Doyle with a left hook. He didn't want to fight him, but the ministers and the Catholic priest told Ray Robinson to go ahead with the fight. It's just a dream. See, everybody had money on Ray Robinson because it was a sure thing. And unfortunately, the very next morning, Jimmy Doyle would get killed in the ring with a left hook. He would face Fritzy Zivic, January 16, 1942. And at that time, Zivic had a fighting record. Astonishing record. 113-27-7. Fought him October 31st, 1941 at Madison Square Garden. We defeated him both times. And at that time, he had a fighting record of 111-26-6. Now, Fritzy Zivic would defeat Henry Armstrong, October 4th, 1940. That would be Ray Robinson's professional debut at Madison Square Garden. And in the second fight, 1941, Ray Robinson was in the first row. And he watched his idol get knocked out. And he said, I must revenge this loss for the great Henry Armstrong. And that he did. He would face Henry Armstrong August 27th, 1943. And at that time, Armstrong had a fighting career record of 135-18-7. Fought him in Madison Square Garden, the same garden where he would watch his idol be destroyed by Fritzy Zivic. Izzy Genazzo, another fantastic fighter. March 14th, 1946. He had a fighting career record of 63-42-15. Sammy Aingot. Sammy Aingot fought everybody in the world. He had a fighting career record of 78-22-7. Fought him March 4th, 1946. 46 would be the year that Ray Robinson would defeat Tommy Bell for the Welterweight Championship strap. Robinson would be in there with Artie Levine, November 6, 1946. Levine had a fighting career record at that time of 46-9-5. Fought him at the Cleveland Arena. Now, Ray was dropped for a 20 count. It was very controversial that Ray Robinson was knocked out, but he was saved by the bell. Artie Levine was from Brooklyn. He was a phenomenal puncher. And he would fight a lot at Broadway Arena. And he would train at Stillman's gym. Heard a lot of stories about Artie Levine. Very good Jewish fighter. Ray Robinson would be in there with California Jackie Wilson, February 19th, 1943. He had a fighting career record at that time of 47-4-2. He would face Marty Servo, just to name a few. But Ray Robinson was some fighter. He was some puncher. Ray Robinson was unbelievable. Jose Basora was born February 8th, 1918. He died January 4th, 1993. He was 74 years of age at the time of his death. He stood 6 foot. He was a very tall fighter. He had total bouts of 105, 78 wins, 44 knockouts, 20 losses. He was stopped 5 times himself, 1 time by Reuben Hurricane Carter. He had 6 draws. that he be in there with Ray Robinson May 14th, 1945. And he would have get a 10-round draw. Jose Basora would fight him in Philadelphia, and Robinson regarded the best welterweight of his class. You see his record.